Hey everybody, good afternoon. It's 12 o'clock Eastern Standard Time on the 12th of January 2021. I'm going to go into something that I haven't done, specifically looking at special purpose acquisition companies. Here on our Discord, we have been trading some of these, and I'm going to go ahead and take a look at a lot of the SPACs that are out there, and just to see if there's any good trade setups on any of them, anything that's worth buying. I'm going to start by looking at things like RIDE, QELL, LAZR, XL, and basically I'm just going to be looking at some of these assets that are red. That's what I tend to do. I am a corrective trader. I look for things that have completed a corrective cycle, which generally mean that they are ready for an uptrend. I am not a trader that likes to buy things that are currently, shooting up because, typically there is easy money to be made when something is shooting straight up, but at the same time, it's very easy to lose that money as well. So I like to find things that have corrected. There's thousands of assets out there, so there's no reason to be throwing your money at something that is just shooting straight up, because you don't have a good trade setup. You don't know when to get out, and that's what I focus on. That's what I specialize in. I specialize in finding corrections and then taking them from there. But if you don't have access to our Discord, just there's a link in the video description. You can get access from there and be able to access our Discord. And before I get any of this, as you all know, this is not financial advice. I'm not your financial advisor. You're responsible for your own trades, managing your own risk, doing your own research. I'm just giving my opinion in the market. So let's go ahead and dive into the charts. I'm going to start here with RIDE, Lordstown Motors Corporation. We took a trade on this all the way back on the 18th of December. That trade is currently in pretty decent profit. From right now, it's 34% up. We were taking a look at this guy potentially going all the way up to $37 to $38. For right now, there's no good trade set up here. We took this trade based off of our indicators. We had the 1 hour, the 3 hour, and the daily all in oversold conditions all at the same time, which is why this trade looked good at the time, and it still looks good for continued hold. But from a trade setup here, I don't see a good trade setup here. Just let me know in the YouTube comments if you can hear me okay. I want to make sure that you all can hear me all right. But at any rate, yeah, RIDE looks like there's no good trade setup here. So I'm just going to keep flipping through these. I've got a lot of SPACs here in my watch list, which was provided by a good friend of mine. And so I'm going to go and flip through these and just see if there's anything, again, that's worth buying today. So QELL, pulling back, it does not look like it's ready yet. It looks like probably has a little bit lower to go. Not a whole lot of history in a lot of these, but I still say this one probably has lower to go. If I had to guess, probably we're going to find ourselves down to the 618 or the 786. And actually, we're bouncing right off the 618 today. We bounced right off of that right now. So probably we're going to come back down here. If you were to buy this, I would put a stop loss on the other side of $11.30. And it opened today at $11.34. So I would say somewhere in this range would be a good place to buy. Keeping in mind you're going to have to keep a stop loss on the other side of 1133, 1130, somewhere in that range is where I would be interested in managing your risk in that area. LAZR, we were talking about this guy potentially coming back down here to the 618. We did fall out of this. You could see I've already done a little bit of analysis on this guy. I think it's ready for a bounce. I think right here at $30.27, probably we're going to see a little bit of a bounce here. I think that we are completing a correction. And from there, I think it's more than likely going to bounce. Let me just see if I can put the 786 on this guy, because more than likely that's at 29.92. So it could be that this one pulls down a little bit further. Let me just zoom in a little here, just to kind of look at this a little bit closer. Down here at the 786, and actually I'm thinking that the A is right here, and then the B being up here. So again, we've got a little A, B, C into the A, B, C into the B, A, B going down here. Probably LAZR is going to hit this this $30 mark. I'd be interested in buying here at $30. Let me just see if I put this on here. What does our risk look like? Because we would have to manage our risk down here at the lows. You're risking about 4.28%, but the upside, you're looking for a move to at least 36.84, which is a 23% gain. I would say that LAZR looks okay. I'm going to go ahead and flag LAZR green because right now this looks, I'm actually going to flag it orange because we're not taking a trade on it just quite yet. It looks like it wants to go down a little bit more. And it could be that we get a bounce here, but I think eventually we do find ourselves down here at the $30 mark, which is where this would look good. Let's keep on going. XL. This guy right here doesn't have a whole lot of history, but we are bouncing at the 786. You could take a trade here. A trade could be taken here, and actually you would have a pretty tight stop on this guy, because if I were to take this trade, I would do a stop loss right here at the low from January 6th. But your upside potential, I mean, you're really talking about this guy going at least 30%. You're talking about risking 1.69%. So there is somewhat of a trade setup here. Now, I don't particularly like trading something that has very, very limited history, which this one does. But the fact that this one is basing at the 786, we had a bounce here, a bounce here, a bounce, and now we haven't officially bounced here yet, which is why we've got a tight stop, 1.69%. That's very, very little risk on this guy. So this could go, this could go up really high, right? 30%, maybe a little more than that. We'll have to wait and see, because upside targets are really pretty high. If we take this guy again, we're measuring that whole move, and we're taking it back here to the pullback zone. You're really talking about this guy going up here to the 618, which is 52%. And at this point, you're talking risking 1.69%, which isn't a whole lot, not a whole lot of risk, and really a pretty great reward if you ask me. So this one could work out. XL, again, all technical. We're taking a stop loss because of this pivot here, so we would expect us to not revisit that. And I would say the probability for this one is probably pretty low. Probability is pretty low, but the trade setup is pretty good in my opinion. So XL, I would say that this one is good to be in a trade on XL at these prices. One thing I don't like is the indicators. We don't have enough history to get a daily indicator on here. Not enough history there, but the hourly looks like it does want to potentially put in a pivot. We're oversold on the hourly. The 3 hour still looks like it has some ways to go, so probably might get another bounce, maybe come back down, and then we'll see that up. But XL looks okay. PSAC, big move up. These are the things that I don't buy, right? I don't buy it once it's done this, because what we see here, we see the 1 hour, the 3 hour, and the daily all in overbought conditions after a huge spike. These are things where a lot of traders are FOMOing in. I wouldn't buy this guy. Not right now. If this guy comes back down here, retest 1050, 1080, then we can talk. But for right now, I would say no. And today, the asset is down 3%. Let's look at VINC. I don't see a whole lot of history on this guy, so I'm going to pass on this. The chart looks like absolute garbage right now, so I'm going to pass on this guy. STIC. A little more history here, a little more history. We've got a nice impulsive move up, and we're seeing a bit of a pullback. So let's see what we've got. It looks like there was a good entry down here. Let's see what we're getting on this. So a nice pullback to the 618. It did go a little bit deeper. Let me put the 65 on here because this guy looks like it's probably fallen right into that zone, and we're coming back down here. I would say this is probably a pretty good buy. And similarly, to the other chart, XL, putting a stop loss down here, you're risking about 4.2%. Probably could get a better entry, so just kind of keep that in mind. You could probably get a better entry on this guy, but trying to find things that are worth buying today. You could see there's tons of different opportunities out there. Upside target for this on a 618 pullback is going to be at this point about $22. Could pull 53 to 54% on this guy. It could take time, and probably will take time. But from this, we're looking at a nice 1-2, and then we should be going up from here. Keep that stop loss down here, 4.2%. But this looks like it could have good potential to the upside. But again, remember, we can probably scale in a little bit on this. Probably are going to be able to scale in on this. So this one also looks good. So let me just flag this one green as well. The green ones, in case you're just joining, the green ones that I have flagged on my watch list that's over on the right are things that I think look good right now. Things that are orange are things that are getting there. I think they have further to go, but I think they're getting there for a continued move to the upside, but I think they still have more downward pressure to go, more selling pressure. But let's keep on going. GOEV has already moved up, had really great buy down here. You can see our indicators indicated that everything was oversold. And so therefore we look for things to be buying. And I look across multiple time frames. I don't just look at one time frame because you kind of have a cloudy view and more of a, not a really definitive view on if it is truly oversold. You can easily get a bias if you're looking at one time frame that, yeah, it's oversold. I could have said that right here, it was oversold, but what happened? It continued going down. We get the 1 hour and the 3 hour, both oversold at the same time, and then there we go. And it's gone up. Obviously you're not going to get the exact bottom, but if we did, it has gone up 43%. Now at this point, it looks like it's overbought. So I would be getting out of this position. So right now, I don't think GOEV is a good entry. There's not a good entry here. So let's keep on going. We're 11 minutes in and we're only through about 9 or 10 different SPACs. This one, again, doesn't look like a good entry. I'm going to kind of fly through these because there's a lot of different SPACs out there. I'm not going to be doing analysis on things that have already moved up. I'm going to be trying to find things that are good for new entries. HYLN. Right. This guy, not the sky, but this guy obviously had a good pullback. We were looking at this as a good entry down here. However, we bounced out of here and it looks like we're trying to move up. So let's just see what we've got here from a pullback. It looks like it's probably stopping at the 50. Let me throw the 50 on there. And it's bouncing off the 50 right now, which is actually good for a wave 2 pullback. I would say that actually HYLN is probably okay to buy down here at the 50 because again you've got a nice 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and then we've got a nice little A, B, C. So I think we should be bouncing off of this. I would say that these pivots do need to hold. HYLN could be good for a buy. I'm going to limit my risk here at the 618. I really don't want it to get down there. So if it does, then the trade is probably no good. But I would say to at least take this guy up here because a nice pullback to the 50, finding support here at the 50 is pretty bullish to take this guy right back up here, create another top there. And again, looking at this, could go higher. But as you can see, I've taken a look at this and we were looking at this going lower and we found some support here. We did find some support, so I think very likely we will see upward move off of this, and I know that I've got this tagged off at about $19.02, about $19, but it is very possible that if this correction is complete, we're going to be correcting this entire move, which is going to be taking us to at least $29. So if you want to hold this for a while, you probably could pull a good 78% on HYLN. Now keep in mind, all right, in case this is the first time you're watching me, I want you to pay really close attention to what I'm about to say. When I talk about taking trades, I don't talk about buying and holding and hoping that it goes up. I'm talking about taking a trade, setting up a trade. In this particular case, I'm talking about buying at 1672, stop loss at 1631. And even though my target is up here at $30, I may take profit along the way and I may close out before it even gets there. Because for me, I'm a trader, I'm not an investor. And I'm here to make money. And I need to treat my trading like a business. Therefore, if it goes to my stop loss, I get out and I move on. If I get stopped out on HYLN, which I'm going to flag as green right now, if I get stopped out on HYLN, I'll move on. And maybe it's going to come back as a good entry later on. But if I get stopped out, I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna exit that trade and I'm gonna wait. All right, that's what I suggest you do as well. All right, let's keep on going. I'm gonna go through about another 10 more of these. BFT, what I'm looking at, yeah, so this one not a good entry right now. So what I'm doing here, I'm looking at assets that are red on the day because again, I'm looking for things to buy that have finished a corrective cycle. This doesn't look like it's finished a corrective cycle, and actually it looks like maybe it already did, but it's not a good trade setup for me right now. Looking at this guy, I'm taking a fib from the top here down here to this low. Well, what we got a bounce off to 786. It's probably going to come back down here to $13. I'll be watching this guy down here at $13. If it gets down here, yeah, absolutely, I'll be a buyer. But up here, I'm not. It looks like we completed ABC, ABC. Now we go down to finish that correction. So what I think this guy is probably doing from up here, we've got a nice A, a nice B, right there at the 786. We go down here the negative 236 to the C at $13. Maybe it doesn't get there. Maybe I'll miss the trade. That's okay. As you can see, there's tons of different assets out there. All right, let's keep on going. IACA, not a whole lot of history here. Surprisingly, I do have a daily, which looks like it's bouncing. Let's just take a look here from the bottom, which is really spotty, to the top. We did bounce off the 618. I'm kind of conflicted on IACA. I wouldn't take a trade on this just because of the spotty history that it's got back here. Not a whole lot of history here to take a look at. So let's just keep on going. RMO, Romeo Power. I am on log scale, so we've got lots of price action here, of course, at the $10 mark, and then it bounced up all the way to 40. It's doing the pullback. So let's see where we have pulled back to. I'm going to try and get the bottom of this guy, take it all the way up here to the top. I would say he's probably going to come down here. This one looks really good though. All right, so we've got the daily, which is down here and oversold. We've got the 3 hour, which is on its way. So more than likely what this guy is going to end up doing from down here, probably going to get a little bounce, but I would be really, really interested in buying this guy here at 1613 to 1685. I would definitely be a buyer down there. I would say that there is good probability that the indicator is going to set itself up down here, and I'd be interested in taking a trade. I'd actually be interested in placing a trade right there, stop loss, give yourself a little bit, maybe 5%, which is a little more than I like, but being able to take this trade up here, 55% for a 5%, that's 10, 11 to 1 risk to reward ratio. That's not too bad. That's not too bad. But I do think that RMO has a little bit further to go. But I'd be keeping an eye on this guy because I do like RMO. Let's keep on going. GIK. Okay, so Giga Capital 3, I believe that I am in this one. But from a trade right now, I would say no. So let's keep on going. VLDR does not look like it is in a good longer term trade setup. Probably will bounce here, but I would say that this is not a good trade setup. THCB, again, right off that $10 mark and had a big move up to 21, doing a pullback, and it looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It does not look like it's ready quite yet. It probably will come back down a bit. IPOF, yeah, it's up quite a bit. I would say probably not something that I would be interested in buying today. JWS, same deal. I don't see a good setup here. SFT, this one looks very, very interesting. I actually like this one. So obviously the best place to buy actually the best place to buy is right around here. I actually like SFT, even though I think you could probably get a better entry. Stop loss at the low down here, 4.79%. But here we go. Let's look at this. We're going to take our trend-based fib extension. We're going to take it from the bottom down here to the top up here. We're going to get our pullback to right here, and we're going to be targeting that 618. So right there, 35%, 36%, somewhere in that range. However, it's very, very possible that this guy does go up to 1370, which would be 67%. Now, that would be 14 to 1 ratio. Taking it down here would still be 7 to 1 ratio, which is, looking at the hourly, it looks like you could probably get a better entry, but the daily looks really good. So I wouldn't buy right here at 8.15. I would try and get a buy closer to $8. Let me throw a fib on here real quick from the bottom, which is right here at about 650 to the top. We've got the 618, so we bounced off the 618 here, had a good move up, we came down. It's possible it comes down here to 742, so I would scale in. I wouldn't just put my whole position right here. I would scale in down to about 793, and then have your stop loss at 776, because when you get stopped out, if you get stopped out, I would say the 742 is going to be the next place to try. So I think it looks good, but I would kind of hold off a little bit, scale in a little bit here, because I'm conflicted because the daily looks really good. The hourly looks like it does want to pull back, and it's possible that it just kind of chops here, down here to that $8 mark. But I would say to take it up from there. So really what I'm going to do, I'm going to put the P&L on this guy, entry price at $8. And that's where I would be looking. And then you've got a 3% stop loss, much better. And then your reward is a 12.54 to 1 up there at $11.01, which would give you your $3.01 per share, 37.62%. That looks good. And again, if this guy does happen to take it up to the 100, well, there you go. You're looking at about 570 per share, 71.13%. And then your risk to reward is 23.71. That looks pretty good. But I would be careful here at the 618 on this move. So I would say to put your entry right there around $8, stop loss at 776, and then look at 742 if that breaks to find some support down there. All right, I'm going to look through just a couple more. We've been going for about 22 minutes. I'm going to go for about 30 here, see what we can find. DM does not look like good for a buy. SSPK does not look like it's good for a buy. CLOV does not have enough history for me to suggest anything. CIIC does have some history, and it looks like, let me normalize this chart here. Actually, this doesn't look terrible. From this pivot low here to that pivot high up there, we did get to the 50. I would say this guy is okay to buy. Let me just kind of compress this guy here. Let's put our P&L right where we're at. Stop loss at the low from there, so that's about 5.8%. But as far as the upside on this, I'd be looking at potentially up to 44 if he does decide to move up. It looks like the daily is ready to move up. The 3 hour is the only thing that has me questioning it. But if he just continues moving sideways, I'd say this trade could work. I'm going to go ahead and mark this guy green because he looks okay. FSR, we've been watching this. Actually, we took a trade on FSR today, right around where we're at. I think we got in at 1469, somewhere in that range. FSR looks fantastic. I love FSR. I'm taking this trade, and I think my stop loss on this is about 14.19 or so. And even if you were to take this trade right now, stop loss on the other side of 14.19, we're still talking about this going 3%. That's a 14.22, but you can give it a little bit more. But your upside on this is pretty good. We're going to be holding this for probably a week or two. I think it's going to be okay. So I do like FSR here. I think it looks really good. TRIT, no, I don't like this chart. Not right now. IPOD, not something that I'm interested in at the moment. FIII, that's a no for me right now. THBR, that's a no for me as well. JIH is a no for me, and we're talking about new buys. So again, if you're just now watching, I'm looking at things that have completed a corrective cycle that are looking good for buys. VSPR is close. Actually, VSPR is very, very close. It could be that we don't get the buy today. It could be that we get it tomorrow, but we're bouncing here in the 61.8 region. It happened once, happened twice, happened 3 times this morning, and is bouncing up and out of there. I think it's close. Probably it's going to come back down here again, but I think this is pretty good for an attempt on VSPR. I do like VSPR. Let's see here. We've got a few more. I've got a little bit of time here. We're going to go for 4 more minutes. Not enough history on this guy. IPOE had a big spike up, not buying that. GHIV, the buy was down here. For right now, I'd say the answer is no. LGVW, that's going to be a no for me today. BTWN, that is, it's close. What did we get off of here? Obviously, buying down here was the best. And that's right there at the 618 to the 65, right in the golden zone. So obviously that was the best entry, and getting in right in the middle of the golden zone to where we're at right now, that's 15%. I would say that right now, that's a no for me, but that was a really great bounce down there. MCAC, no, that's a no for me. CCH, that's going to be a no right now. It looks like it wants to go down further. RBAC is getting close. Let's just take a look here from the bottom to the top. Probably will come here to 1060. It may come down to 1045. We'll have to wait and see. Right now, this one's a watch for me. RBAC is going to be a watcher. TDAC, that's it's close. It's really, really choppy, but I would say that there's a floor here at 1180 that is really, really important. So what's our risk on this? If we were to buy this here, that floor at 1180 is pretty important. That's only 2.5%. I'd say that's worth it. That's worth it. I'm going to take this trade. I do like TDAC down here. It's not a really great play based on our indicators, but TDAC looks pretty good for continuation to the upside. So I would say this guy could probably go and probably break new highs, which would be a 17% move from where it's at right now. So I like it. I like TDAC because I like the floor that it looks like it has created there at 1183. So I'll probably set my stop loss at 1180 on this one. I think it looks okay. All right, I'm going to do one more. Let's see here. So this one's a no for me. SMMC is a no. THCA is close. I do think it wants to come down just a little bit further. ROCH is going to be a no. FTIV is a no. RPLA, here we go. This one's perfect. We got the 1 hour, the 3 hour, and the daily all in oversold all at the same time here at $10.31. I'd say this one looks good. Put your stop loss. I mean, you can set your stop loss at 3% or so right on the other side of $10. Could be in this one for a while, but this one has potential to move. I like RPLA as well. I'm going to be taking this one. Don't know how high it's going to go based off of what we see here. Well, we're just going to have to wait and see. Trend-based fib extension from the bottom, which is somewhere down here, to the top. We get the pullback. Even if you take it to the 100, that's going to be at $11.70 or so. Let's close that guy and pull him up there. I do like this. This one is potential 13%. I like this trade. So I'm going to go ahead and take it. I'm going to take this trade. All right, guys. That's what I've got for you right now. And we'll be doing these probably once a week, these SPAC videos. So we're going to watch these, and we're going to watch them come down. If there's anything that looks really good, that hits some of our targets, maybe I'll do an impromptu SPAC video. But, if you want access to our Discord, there's a link in the video description. Feel free to join in. If this video did help you in any way, shape, or form, like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. And wherever you are in the world. I hope you're having a good day.